My name is Amit. I'm the CEO of Tallyfy, which is a tool that lets you document and automate your workflows. We've just been invited into Google Bard, and I want to be very specific about this exploration and this demo. This is not for personal use. This is all for business use cases, business workflows. So if you're watching this video looking to do your homework, or you're using it to create recipes or something, please stop watching. This is not for you. My use cases are specifically around business workflows, things that I have to do in everyday work, and so on. And that's what we're going to test right here. Now, how does this compare to OpenAI? That's the big question, right? So one of the big things about OpenAI is that its data actually ended, its training data ended in 2021 or so. So it doesn't have fresh information. So let's just ask Bard the question. Do you know about recent events? It's surprisingly slow right now, and it has been for me. I don't know why, but so this is what's different. Because Google indexes the entire web, all of Google News, all the newspapers, all the books, all of that stuff, I think it's actually going to be incredible for use cases that involve recent information. So, which is great. Now, the other thing I want to test is, can it access real-time data about the entire internet, the web? As you guys know, Google has indexed the entire web, and therefore I should be able to ask about our website, for example, and it will actually understand. So for example, we run a SaaS company called Tallyfy. So if we ask the question, what does Tallyfy do? Is this actually going to pull this either from a database or even from the live website? It looks like it does, because OpenAI doesn't do this, which further proves that we are actually using the Google Index, which is a live real-time index of all the world's news and all of the web pages on this planet, which is actually incredible if you think about it. Now, I haven't seen this in API form. I mean, I would want to use this as an API. This is just like a user interface right now. So if you want to just play with it like ChatGPT free, then this is great. But really, to do serious stuff with it, you'd have to use the API, especially if you want to integrate this into your CRM and in your applications, which I'm going to get to in just a minute. So just bear with me, because this is going to blow your mind. I'm going to try a few examples here, which you might actually consider doing yourself for your business and for your daily kind of everyday work life. Great. So I'll ask it something deeper just to make sure that it understands the web. Where is the API for Tallyfy? Now, unless you've actually indexed the web, it will be difficult for any system to know the answer. Yeah, okay, so maybe it hasn't indexed the entire web. Who founded Tallyfy? For this, you actually have to have indexed the website or some other sources of information. This is kind of inaccurate, but I think it looks like it's old information. So anyway, it's incorrect, but it's sort of correct, but not really. I think it's been pulled from Crunchbase or something like that. Okay, so that's basic stuff. We're just going to rush ahead into the more interesting stuff now. Okay, so in a business, maybe you write on LinkedIn, maybe you have posts that you do on your business network, etc. So I've actually got a prompt here, a prepared prompt. I'm just going to run you through it because I believe in very precise and very unique prompts, because, crap in, crap out. So you got to be very specific about what you're actually trying to do and what you want Bard to do. So write a short, unique, engaging LinkedIn story in the first person voice of an expert who drives productivity. It's supposed to be posted on Friday. So the story should start with a reference to Friday, because if I posted it on Friday, I'd be talking about Friday, right? It should be fun and thought-provoking. Make sure it covers the pain points in operations today. This is about the expertise and professionalism about it. Summarize why automating workflows doesn't just save time, it actually makes people smarter, happier, and so on, and great outcomes. Do not mention any products except Tallyfy because, you know, hey, it's LinkedIn, so everyone's just going to do vanity self-promotion. So, hey, why not just say that, right? Let's see what happens. At the end of the post, add a famous proverb or quotation about operations and productivity. Space out the paragraphs with 2-line breaks. Just take that in for a second. That's a very precise requirement right there. Now, I'll be impressed if this actually works like OpenAI does. This is okay, but it's actually supposed to be speaking to an audience. It's not supposed to be like this way. So maybe I'll just go change it. Change that to speak to people in a third person voice. So let's just see if it has continuation of memory. Yeah, it's not bad because I actually asked for a story. So I guess if I'd removed that and said a post from my perspective, then the tense, the tone and everything would have changed again. I would prefer not to include this line. So it's a little bit more verbose than OpenAI. When I did this in OpenAI, it doesn't have some of these extra statements. So that's one difference I'm seeing. But as you can see, it understands all the context we gave it. It's Friday, end of the week, pitch or talk about Tallyfy, talk about the outcomes, summarize, and all of that. Okay, so this is a basic use case. This is a marketing use case of posting on LinkedIn using a prompt and generating a story every Friday or every Wednesday or whatever you want to do. But we've really given it an exact specification of what to say, how to say it. And it's okay. I think it's okay. It's not as good as OpenAI so far, but GPT-3 to be more precise. But it's still good. And I think GPT-4 is going to be better than this, but we're going to find out. We just got access the other day, so we're integrating OpenAI GPT-4 into our product, Tallyfy. So the next thing I want to explore is something a little bit more creative. This is not so much businessy, but it is sort of related to it. Let's just try something weird for a second. Write a poem in the style of Pablo Neruda. The same idea, maybe it's a LinkedIn post that you make, but write about a professional in operations who has to run all kinds of workflows. Use a large variety of vocabulary. Interesting question to ask at the end of a story. They discover an app, so you're actually telling a story here, hopefully. Make it funny, delightful, and short. At the end, write a famous quote, prefixed with text quote for your weekend. Now, contrast this with this. It's actually written a line here, and then it's got a quote. Here, what I'm saying is I want a specific heading, and then I want to see the quote. It's slightly different to the last thing I just did. But again, this might be a LinkedIn post if you're angled to something a bit more creative. Great. So again, I don't like this verbosity. I don't like it telling me what I just told it. You don't need to return to me what I just said. So if I were, if I were looking to improve this, I would remove this kind of thing. But this does kind of border on the idea of explainable AI, which I know Google and others have been talking about. It's important that the AI reiterates the understanding of what you've asked it to do and just summarizes that. But I think this should be an optional field. You should have this in a separate section. And then you should have the content, which is this. Now, when you go through this poem, it's actually pretty good. I mean, it is in a very simplistic. It's like a natural style, which we asked for Pablo Neruda. So that's a Chilean poet who's famous for his highly expressive poetry. So that's interesting. Obviously, if I'd asked for Edgar Allan Poe or something like that, we'd have something that looks more like The Raven. So let's try that. In fact, let's ask for a poem, something in the style of Edgar Allan Poe. Here, things are much more kind of obtuse, more rhyming. they end with things like evermore, and you know, it's just like the Raven, I guess, the famous poem that he's known for. Let's see if that changes things. Again, not very businessy, but let's see what happens. So again, you're seeing a huge amount of rhyming here of these more Edgar Allan Poe sounding type words, like, you know, operations, vexations, agitations. So similar, pretty good, not bad at all. Great, so we had a little play with this. Let's move on to the next example. Now, this one's going to knock your socks off. You're going to love this one. This is amazing. Now, I love writing prompts, obviously. You know, I've become very good at prompts. Now, what I wanted to do is have this system in my CRM write follow-up sales emails for me. As all of you know who work in business, writing emails is a pain in the ass, especially if it's a sales email, because you have to write an email at least 6 times if you're in sales before a prospect or a lead actually responds to you. So if I give it enough great instructions, then hopefully this should be good. Obviously, I have to integrate this into my CRM, which will happen next. But right now, I'm just doing it manually. I want a first-person email in a positive tone using US English, right from the perspective of an expert. I don't want to look like a sales guy, right? Spread out the lines, remove the initial greeting, mention the current day of the week. Always looks nicer because it looks like you actually wrote the email instead of a robot wrote the email. The goal is to, and in kind of like square, curly, kind of in the area marked here in my screen, that's where you would have the specific ask. So you'd say something like, ask John to schedule the next chat as a demo with their coworker Nick. You probably get that from your CRM. I've typed it in right here. Don't mention any other apps except ours, Tallyfy. Ask if they have questions about implementing Tallyfy. Don't mention any years. It's a longer story. Why did I include this? Ask me in the comments, please, and I'll explain to you why. Use the following points to personalize the email, but convert third-person points to first-person points. So let's just say we had a Zoom meeting 5 days ago. The name of this fake company is Coca-Cola, but only mention it once or twice in the email, otherwise it looks weird. The email should come from me, Amit. And these are the notes in my CRM. So these are the points from my last call. Things they're excited about, the company's 50 employees, Nick from IT needs to approve, they need to integrate with other systems like Oracle, SAP, whatever. Include a link to sign up to Tallyfy, include a link to actually book a chat, generate a subject line too. This is huge. This is actually a completely contextualized prompt for a highly specific sales follow-up email. It's so specific that you might think that's a hell of a lot of specificity, but you can actually pull some of this from your CRM notes. So once this opens up as an API, it'll be amazing. So when I read this email, it really does look like pretty realistic. So firstly, the fact that we spoke last week. Second, what they said they're interested in doing. Third, just to recap, this is what we are. Fourth, some of the things you liked as well as the objections you had, like I liked real-time language, I liked workflows that you can run, etc. All covered right there in a summary. Link to sign up. Link to schedule a chat. And, well, the quote for the weekend, I guess if it was Friday, then this would make sense, but I didn't actually ask for a quote for the weekend, so I think it's because I'm not... I should reset this chat because I think it's trying to use the previous memory. Then, of course, you have the subject, which if this came out by machine, then I could just get the last line and insert it into my automation as a subject line. It's not bad. It's not bad. I could obviously tune it a little bit more and make it sound more like an actual human being wrote this email. But if this is a business problem you have, if this takes you like 4 or 5 minutes to type up an email like this, and you can now do it in 10 seconds, then all you got to do is write the notes in the right way in your CRM, which is this. See the green part I've highlighted? These could be the notes you leave in your CRM. So it dynamically moves data from your CRM into the API for OpenAI or for Bard, and then it generates this draft email. Because obviously you're not going to come here and type this every time, okay? So that's a great example, very business focused, very common problem. Sending emails is a huge waste of time. Final example, and if you guys want more, I can make more videos because I have amazing examples that we're using Tallyfy for right now. And I'll show you one of them in just a minute. This is the last prompt that I will do before I show you how we're actually using OpenAI and hopefully Bard in the future. This next one is, again, just a marketing example. It's very, very specific. I'll just type it in so that you can see the whole thing and paste it. Now, while this generates, pause the video, take your time to look at it. I'm actually telling it to write a story on LinkedIn, and I'm actually asking it to cover all the benefit points of our product. For example, flowcharts suck, no one looks at them. Digitize those workflows, actually run those workflows because nobody looks at any documentation, so what's the point? The time it wastes, handovers, and so forth. So our product Tallyfy runs repeatable processes and helps you scale them. So this is specific to that. And thirdly, the final part, improving processes is important. You can't improve a process if no one follows it. So also talk about how you cannot do this with project and task management tools today because every project is unique. A project is not a process. Summarize how it saves time and money. Don't mention any other products except ours, etc. So once again, it's done its whole explainable AI thing, and it's got a summary at the top. This is pretty good. I looked at this before this video. It's actually pretty good. It's a nice big piece. You could set it on automation maybe. You could post it once a week in your LinkedIn, and it's a nice story. Maybe you'll get a lot of interesting views and likes and shares of a story like this, right? Now, obviously, you can make some twist to this story. You might say something like, make the previous story, should we say, more creative and unique. And what's interesting is you're taking business content like this, and we want to see what can this actually do to make it unique enough so that if I did post it repeatedly, it would be something worthy of, the typical kind of LinkedIn story that people like sharing. Now, this is more like it. This is kind of moving up the engagement level. This is better. Okay. So that's how I've been playing with Bard. As I said before, this is specific to our business use cases and specific to our company, Tallyfy. I did want to mention how we've actually integrated OpenAI into Tallyfy itself. And what we do is we help people document procedures. So when you go into Tallyfy, you can actually say, create a blueprint, which is like an SOP or a procedure. And if I do Tallyfy AI, which actually uses OpenAI right now, and we're going to upgrade it soon to GPT-4, but right now it's using GPT-3. So let's say I want a business process for onboarding new hires at a software company. So in other words, write me an entire SOP in Tallyfy, a whole procedure to onboard our new employees, our new hires. And what kind of company we are is a software SaaS company. Let me just put a SaaS company to be more specific. Now, if I hit generate right here, this is a similar thing. It's making a call out to OpenAI, GPT-3's API. And we're going to change that to GPT-4 soon. And it should come back with a completely generated step-by-step procedure so that you don't have to type one from scratch. Now, as you can see, here it is. Now, the prompt that engineered this was huge and complex, and you don't want to know what it is. It's kind of crazy. But we took that prompt, we got the output, we have a step title, which is like the task which you're supposed to do, the description of how to do the task, which isn't great, but it's okay, I guess. The who does the task, so the role in the company doing that particular task, HR department, IT department, etc., and when the task is due. Now, if any of these don't look like they're any good, we actually built a functionality to actually remove information which isn't right, like this. Because sometimes, a lot of this AI stuff, the suggestions are not very good. So for us, it's important that you can control bad input information so that, you've got something, you've got a good kind of customization over this. So as soon as you've got this, now I create my procedure. Oops, sorry. So there's a few things I need to fix up. But anyway, as you can see, this is something that works. This is something that actually helps people document procedures. It's actually integrated within our product and it works. So those are the things that are actually super interesting. The other thing that we're actually using it for right now is completion. So imagine you have a process already like this, and you actually run some AI to actually suggest more steps in the process in case you've missed anything. We are also using AI or OpenAI for this. So for example, I've written up this procedure by hand, not using AI, okay? Just want to clarify that. Down here, I've got more steps which are being suggested for me to add to my SOP, to my company documentation, to my procedure. So that's pretty cool. And obviously, once you've written your procedure, you can actually run your procedure in Tallyfy, which is kind of the whole point of the product, running processes and tracking all of them so that you don't have to actually track anything in real time. You can see who's done what from all your processes. So that's how we're using it, and it's baked into our product. So going back to Bard again, if you use it for interesting use cases and you seed it with the right kind of context and information, this is a very powerful tool, but it's only very useful if you have an API solution for this, because unless you actually want to type this by hand all the time, it's going to get pretty tedious. So what I would do is maybe copy and paste this prompt and then remember that I have to edit this entire section with the notes from my sales call, and then ask it to generate the email, because that's the customization I want. The more personalized and customized my prompt, the better the output email, the more highly relevant and personalized the email looks. So email's great. Generating blog posts and LinkedIn posts is great too. Sometimes the LinkedIn post is actually really good. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't think I am actually that good. I don't think I would have been able to write this. This is actually pretty good. This is a good LinkedIn post. So, and it's very, very tailored to me. If you look at how specific this is, this is a massive prompt that's very, very unique to my company. Now, all of you have this. You have a unique role. You have a unique job. You have a unique company. You have a unique position in that company. So the more customized your prompt, the better this becomes. So I hope you enjoyed that. This is Bard. Again, for business use, for me, I don't care about generating cat pictures and recipes. This is actually useful to me like this. So this is what I'm using it for. I hope this video has given you lots and lots of ideas of how to use both ChatGPT as well as Bard, Google Bard, to generate your, for generative AI, using prompt design that's highly specific, highly detailed, and highly personalized. Thanks very much. Just feel free to ask me any questions inside the comments. And once more, I'm Amit from Tallyfy. Please check out our product. We have an amazing product that helps you actually define any kind of procedures, run any workflows you like, especially repeatable processes in your company. And I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you very much.